It needs to be big, it needs to be compelling. Like I could say, I want to educate all the girls in Sargodha. Every child that's female, that's born in Sargodha will get education.
Where my offices are scattered, I just go in now and then, you know. Usko koi pata nahi hai ki boss aa raha hai aaj. So I just go in. A, I want to check what they're doing. B, I want to see what their behavior is. And C, they know I care about them and I come and have a cup of tea with them.
Don't micromanage people. If I give you a task, let people get on with it. Empower people to do things, because that's how they will learn. Give them the responsibility. When you give people responsibility, they get motivated. But be there to support them and guide them when they need help. If I was in UK, I would have prepared a presentation and put it in here, but because I've been asked to do this at the last minute. So I've prepared some notes. First of all, I would like to thank Qasim Ali Shah and the management of this place for inviting us to give a talk about effective leadership. Can you all hear me? Yes. Is that clear? That's great. Okay. If I just introduce ourselves, I've got Hanif Yousaf, who's a senior detective in the UK and head of offender management in Birmingham. We do have another guest. He's failed to arrive at the moment, but I'm sure he will join us, which will be Shakir Hussain, who's a businessman and a charity worker and has his own charity in Pakistan as well. Myself, I'm a senior police officer in UK and I'm head of standards, which is probably equivalent to anti-corruption. And also in Pakistan, I do run my own charity, which we've got a community hospital, school, madrasa, and soon we'll be opening a skills centre, particularly for women, and that's based in District Mirpur in Azad Kashmir. If any of you know that location, that's where we are, and that's one of the reasons for my visit here. But Qasim Ali Shah kindly invited us to give us a talk on leadership, because I am level 7 qualified in leadership talks, which is probably one of the highest leadership qualifications you could get. Our talk will be split in two halves. I'll start off talking about effective leadership, and then I'll hand over to Muhammad Yousaf, who will talk about emotional intelligence, which is a key part of leadership. So before I start, did you know that 90% of business startups fail in the long term? 90% of business fails in the long term. And one of the reasons, there are other factors, is because of effective leadership. So just a question to the audience. I just want to start off, I can make this interactive. What does leadership mean to you? I'll take one from this side, from the males, one for here. Anybody, what does leadership mean to you?
Take charge to resolve a problem.
To take charge. Okay. Hold your thought, because I've got, okay. Somebody from this side? Come on, you must be leaders. Everybody's got leadership. Anybody from this side, just put your hand. What do you think leadership means?
To guide the group.
Okay. All right. In simple terms, the dictionary says leadership is the ability to lead people, team, and organizations. It's the ability to lead. That is leadership. There's thousands and thousands of books out there that will give you fancy descriptions of what leadership is. In simple terms, is the ability to lead, and that's what it is. And basically it means telling people what you want them to do and then getting them to do it. That's what leadership is about in simple terms, if we break it down. But there are a number of elements in terms of how you tell people to do things, connect with people, and get them to do it. One of the easy ways, hey, go get that for me. That is leadership, but is it good leadership? No, it's not. He'll probably do it, or he'll probably tell me, no, I ain't doing it for you. So there's ways we have to do, and I'll go through some of that procedure with you. Leaders in an organization forget what their leadership actually means. They are so concerned about their position and status in the organization. That's what they say. Because we're a leader, we're a manager, we're a senior manager, it's a position and it's a status. Well, it doesn't achieve much in an organization, that sort of leadership. That's not their real job in terms of what leadership is. Leadership, and you said it's being in charge, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in our charge. So it's not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in our charge. But nobody tells us that, and nobody trains us for this. And that's where the issue is. They think leadership is just about being in charge. I could boss people, bully people, tell them to do. You won't get very far. That is not effective leadership at all. When we start our job, or we're junior in our organisation, our responsibility is to be good at our job. So if you're a junior starting an organisation, let me give an example. If you're an accountant, you know what? You go on some courses, you go on some training, and you work hard and you become really good at your job. Because that's your job as an accountant, that's what you do. And if you're really, really good, one day you'll get promoted to a senior management position and be responsible for that person who's doing the job that you used to do. So you're an accountant, now you're good, you got promoted, and you're responsible for the person, job you used to do. But we don't get any training or any guidance or advice. How do we start leading people? And what we tend to do, a lot of people try to do, is micromanage, because they know that job and they think they could do that job better, and they micromanage that person. Well, I used to do it this way. This is how I did things. This is how you should do things. Well, that's not leadership. That person who is in the same position you were 10 years ago, let them get on with the job and let them do it. So we have to go through a transition stage. And that transition stage, some do it really quickly, some do it slowly, and some never make that transition at all because they continue doing that micromanagement. Do you understand? Are you still with me? If you're not, just put your hand up and I could repeat myself again in terms of that. So when you become in that elevated position, you are now responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. You might say a COA in a company says, well, my job is I'm responsible for the public. A COA will probably never see the public ever. So he's responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer. Same results. As a COA in a company, you are not responsible for the results. You are responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. I'm mentioning a few quotes there. Do you get that? So I'm, as a leader, I'm responsible for you, who is actually responsible for getting the results, or with the customer. So just bear that in mind. Don't micromanage. You sit at the top. You get other people to do work for you. Not everybody is cut out to be a leader. As a leader, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. If things go wrong, you have to take all the responsibility. If things go right, you have to give all the responsibility to your team. Some leaders claim, no, it's not. So when things go wrong, as a leader, you take responsibility. When things go right, you give the credit to your team. That sucks, really, doesn't it? It's not good, is it? But that's what a leader does. So he stays there, or she stays there late at night, speaking to their people, coaching their people, mentoring their people, sacrificing time which they need to spend with their family to actually help their employees and the organisation to move on in terms of that sort of position. So everybody with me now in terms of what I'm trying to say. So that's what leadership is about. Now, I will touch on a few essentials. I mean, I could give this talk for an hour, I usually do, but I'm just going to touch on a few things. Then I'm going to hand over to my colleague to talk about emotional intelligence. I'm going to touch on a few things which I think will make people effective leaders. First thing is self-awareness. leadership starts within you. You can't change the world out there. The only person you could change is yourself. Once you change yourself, you could then start doing things. But what a lot of people do, they try to change things out there, forgetting themselves and how to change yourselves. So self-awareness is about understanding yourself, including your personality traits, behaviors, anxieties, and emotion. As a leader, you should know what your strengths are, so you could do a lot more of that. And you also need to understand what your development points are. Nobody is a perfect leader. So in terms of your development points, you either work on them, or what you do is you hire somebody who could help you with them points. Me personally, I don't do detail. I really struggle to do detail. I'm a bigger picture guy, blue sky thinking. I have a vision, I want to do that. That's where I stand. You ask me to do the little detail stuff, I can't do. My brain doesn't operate that. So I have people around me who give me and provide me with the details around that sort of stuff. You also need to understand how people perceive you. It's not good being an arrogant leader like I described my colleague, oh, go fetch me that glass of water. People will think I'm arrogant. They may work for me when I give them instructions, but when I go home, I'm not going to be a workplace. They ain't going to be really bothered about me or the organization, because they're going to really hate me as a leader. So you don't want to be tough. I'm sure most of you in your career, if you haven't, you will see them type of leaders going forward. Leadership, about self-awareness, is how you react to things. So usually you're not in control of the situation. So something may happen out the blue which you have no control over. But what you are in control of is your actions after that situation. So anything happens and somebody might cross your values, and that's the situation. So somebody might come, a customer might come to you, you're a man, is very, very rude to you, very rude, very angry, criticises your mom, criticises your sister, and we come across people like that. Some of you want to probably punch them in the face and say, oh, I don't like that, or you want to fight them. But is that going to help you at all? So what you've got, you are in control of your feelings and your thoughts, and then you act in a very professional way, and that action leads to good performance. So let me break that down for you. You must have quite a few rishtedar who come to your house in the evening, talk to your mom, and just gossip load of rubbish. And sometimes they gossip about you because their daughter and son, they say they're doing really, really well. But you know they're not doing well at all. So you could either say, Auntie, please be quiet, you are lying. Your son and daughter is not doing this. Your son and daughter goes to my school and they're absolutely rubbish. When you say that, you might affect the relationship with your auntie, can't you? You will actually destroy that relationship. Your auntie doesn't want to hear that. So you're angry, you're annoyed, you want to frustrated, and you want to snarl your auntie some things, don't you? But you've got to be very, very careful. So those feelings and thoughts are going in your head, but you may approach it in a very diplomatic way. You might go and speak to her child and say, do you know what? Your mother's saying these things. Just make sure she doesn't come to my house and says it. And she might go have a conversation, Mom, look, don't tell lies, don't do these sort of things, because these people, that's leadership. So all I'm saying, you may not be in control of the situation, but you are in control of your thoughts, your feelings, and how you act after the situation. So that just says that leadership is like a muscle. So the more you practice, you build that muscle. But if you don't practice that, it becomes weak. So it's all about practicing. Some of the things I'm going to talk about is going to be how you start practicing this sort of thing. Leaders need a vision. And that's the aspirational for the future. It needs to be a clear direction so that people can follow that. It needs to be big, it needs to be compelling. Like I could say, I want to educate all the girls in Sargodha. Every child that's female, that's born in Sargodha will get education. That's a vision. Who will buy into this vision? So if I said to you, that's what I'm going to do, will everybody buy into that vision? But it's compelling, it's big, and it connects with people. The next stage is, how do I engage and connect people with my vision? It's great having a vision, but if people don't buy into the vision, it just becomes a dream. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here, a lot of people you know, they have real powerful visions, they want to do things, but they can't connect with that vision. And a vision without action remains a dream. You need to be aware. So it's got to be real powerful, really big vision. It's got to be like, you know, like whatever. It's got to be something that really gives that feeling. That's the vision. Some people have very poor visions and people don't buy into it because it's really poor. You can have a real big vision in terms of that. The next thing you need to do is motivate and commit others into your vision. So what you do, you inspire people. And the way you inspire people, you tell people how their work fits into the bigger vision. So in an organization, you have big departments. Let me just tell you, I run an organization in my policing and Yousaf Khan. I've got 2,000 officers who are in charge of standards. The most important person in that building, who do you think the most person that works in the building is for me? My staff are important, but there's one or two people who are really important to me in that building. And you wouldn't even think that they're important. The important person for me in the building is the cleaner. The cleaner who cleans the toilets. If the toilets were blocked, the toilets are unsafe, would you want to come into this building? No. So I have to tell that cleaner, look, you have to clean the toilets. You have to clean them very good. If the toilets are clean, everybody could work to their potential. I could do management plans, I could organize things, I could deal with a customer. But if the toilets ain't clean, I ain't going to come to the building. I'm not going to serve. So you've now actually connected the cleaner to your vision. And the cleaner can say, well, I've got a purpose. There's a meaning to my job. So every department and every individual in the organization, you've got to connect them to the vision. And you could do objectives and stuff like that. That's other things you could do in terms of that. And there's two ways you connect people as well. One way is logical. You give people a lot of figures, a lot of stuff you've got here. This company does X amount of things, it does Y amount of things. We make loads and loads of profit in terms of this sort of stuff. And you could connect people to that. The other way you connect people is emotional. If you connect people emotionally to their values and beliefs, people will work for you. They do really, really hard work for you. Like, let me tell you, talking about schools in Sargodha. You know, some of us come from very poor backgrounds and we probably didn't have advantaged lives. I want to educate all girls in Sargodha so they could look after their family, they could look after their children. You know, even Islam says if you educate a male, you educate one person, but if you educate a female, you educate the whole family. And that's why I want to educate females. A lot of people will buy into that, especially females will buy into that. I've got to connect people emotionally to what I've just said. So connect with people's values, connect with people's beliefs when you've got the vision, why they should do that thing for you. It's not about I can make £100 million here, or this will be a better service for you. yeah, logically I get that. But when you connect with people's beliefs and values, you know what, there's that discretionary effort. People will go the extra mile. So when you want to connect people, just connect with their values and heart. And you're talking from the heart there at all. The other way to connect people is with people's ideas and thoughts. So if I've got the vision in terms of educating every girl in Sargodha, I don't have the monopoly of ideas. There's people out there who probably belong to that area. I want your thoughts and ideas. So once you give your thoughts and you give your ideas, you feel like that you have contributed. And once you contributed, you feel included. And once you're included, you're committed. So whenever I have an idea or a suggestion, I have a team like this, I get them together, I say, right, I want to get from A to B. In my mind, I know how I'm going to get there, but I don't have all the ideas. So I might say to you, two of this side or two of this side will say, boss, sir, I think if you do this, it will be better for you. Or, sir, if you do this, we'll probably get better result. Sir, if you do this, it'll be really, really good. And let me give you an example of that. I did some work recently with some slum school in Lahore. So I was one of the directors of a charity in the slum schools in Lahore. And what we were trying to do is get a lot of the slum kids to come into school so we could educate them. And I thought, that's a wonderful idea. And get loads and loads of kids. Do you know what happened? Some kids were coming in one day and they weren't coming the other day. This happened over a period of time. I couldn't understand. We're providing free education to some of these kids in the slum schools, but these kids weren't still coming to school. And some people said who were part of my charity and who were quite probably narrow-minded, hard workers, यार आपने क्या invest किया है? इतने पैसे आप खर्च कर लिए हैं. You're working hard and these kids don't want to be educated. Why are you wasting your money and effort? Do you know what the problem was? Do you know why some of these kids weren't coming to school? Tell me, I'm happy. Why do you think some of these kids weren't coming to school? And it's only when we spoke to local people they told us. So why do you think some of these kids weren't coming to school? The kids in the slum, no other school accepted them because they're slums kids. We were giving them free education, coming to school. We were giving them transport to come into school, but these kids, some of them were still not coming to school. Why?
They are not committed.
Okay, that's your thought. That's okay. That's a thought. Any other thoughts?
They were earning.
Yeah. The issue was some of these kids who were 9, 10-year-olds were the breadwinners of the family. So their mothers were single, or their father had gone to jail. Some were into prostitution. So these kids had to go, beg, earn a living, and feed their mother and the rest of their siblings. So what did we do? We removed them, okay, we put them on the education path, and we're going to have a success story. But we took out the breadwinner in the family. That's the kid. It wasn't because they weren't committed. They wanted to educate him. But we took the breadwinner of family. So what we did with that project, it was only local people we spoke to, and they were happy, they had good money. So what we did, we provided support to that mother. We gave them money. We gave them income. So that kid can then come to school. And guess what happened? That child was coming to school every day. Not even that. He wanted extra time with the teachers at the end of the day because he wanted to achieve his ambition in life. You have to remove people's barriers to get, but the only way we found out is by talking to people and people's ideas. I mean, you said they weren't committed. Possibility, but that wasn't the case. You said you're taking the breadwinner. I've spoken to 2 different people. You had different thoughts, didn't you? we explore that thought and actually say, yeah, that's the issue and the problem around that sort of stuff. So that's where you get commit people. And the individual who gave us the idea, he says, look, this is the problem, was more than happy to support us in some of them ways around that sort of stuff. Are you all still with me? You still look alert, which is very good for me. So I'm happy with that. Communication is very, very important in leadership. A lot of times you tell people what to do, but do they really understand what you're trying to get them to do? So always, when you tell somebody to do something, just follow up just to make sure that they understand. But it comes in many ways, communication. There's oral communication, there's written communication. Just make sure your communication is clear and articulate. Make things really simple for people. I think one of the issues that we have in a lot of organisations in the UK, we have jargon. Do people know what jargon is? They use little letters like CTU. Now, how many people know what CTU means? A lot of people won't. You know, it's counter-terrorism units or something like that. We tend to use jargon, and a lot of people won't understand jargon. And when you're junior in the organisation, you're embarrassed to ask, aren't you? So if somebody says, go do this, and they use jargon, you say, yaar isne kya kiya? I'm too afraid to ask them. Then you ask your next door neighbour, he says, I don't know either. Well, why didn't somebody ask? So make sure your communication is clear and ask people, like I'm checking with you, do you understand me? Are you with me? I need to make sure that. But for me, the best part of communication is you keep your mouth shut. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you one mouth and two ears. Listening is the best part of communication. Because you feed in, you listen to ideas, you listen to thought, you listen to feedback. You might be doing something you think is wonderful, but people on the shop floor don't like it. This is impacting on our life. This is impacting on this. You might make a decision, but it may impact on other people's lives. So you've got to listen to other people. So you've got to have a two-way communication. You feed, but then you listen to people. And one of the things I say and I do, and it's part of communication, is you have an attitude, not I can or I know attitude. Have a learning attitude. Does that make sense? There's a lot of people, and I've seen this in Pakistan, probably more than UK, people think they know it all. Well, if you know it all, you're not going to learn. Every day, for me, in policing, is a schooling day. Even some of the stuff that I've listened to, some people ask me questions, it's a learning day. So go with a learning attitude and you learn more rather than I know it attitude. If you know it all, you know what, you're not going to really achieve much in life at all. So when you do speak to people, pause and listen to them as well, because listening is really, really important. And the other thing is feedback. You give some people feedback and they want to attack you. Yeah, he's giving me feedback. I've done all my homework, I've done anything, and he's giving me feedback. I don't like it. No. Feedback is really, really important. I may have blind spots which I don't know about, but somebody out there will tell me, Mr. Hanif, I don't think that's right. I don't think how you approach that individual was right. I then have to, with that feedback, either do nothing with it and carry on, or I reflect on that feedback and how could I make changes. So when somebody gives you feedback, make sure the feedback you give to people is constructive. Not, oh, Bethgoof, aapne ye kya kiya hai? How do you think my colleague feels when I say something like that to him? You might think it's acceptable, it happens, but it's not. But I could say to him, look what you've done. It's not right. How can we do that better next time? So there's two reasons you give feedback. One, to confirm that they've done something really good, or to change their behaviour. And you must come across a lot of people who you think, you know what, if only somebody told them that what they're doing, it's wrong. But nobody tells those individuals, do they? Either they're scared or they're scared to offend them. No, but do it in a constructive way. Say, yeah, when somebody's talking, you over-talk them. Let them finish their conversation. You will have your turn. How many times have you seen you're in the middle of a conversation and the person thinks they know better and they interrupt you? You know, I get really, really angry when people interrupt me. You have to give people feedback, because with feedback, people will change and people will grow. But as a leader, find trusted people who can give you feedback as well. I'm not saying ask everybody, but have some people around you who give you feedback. And the best person who gives me feedback, and I think Yousaf will be a great, is my wife. She doesn't hold back. You know what? When your wives give you feedback, they give you direct feedback. And they give you feedback, sometimes you have to just take it. And they're usually right. You know, no, it doesn't happen. No, there's no violence. But sometimes they give you feedback. You know, when you were a child, your mother always gave you good feedback. She might have done that to you, not in, you know, but she would say, look, don't do that. And the reason you don't do that, because you're not going to have that and stuff like, you know, if you ever come around, you know, across Vietnamese kids, when they end up as Vietnamese adults, does anybody want to like them? Do anybody talk to them? But if you're Vietnamese as a kid, sit the kid down and say, look, don't do stuff like that, because it has an impact on other people as well. So feedback in the workplace is the same thing. The next thing you've got to do, once you've got a vision, you've communicated, you've got people committed, you've got to trust people to just get on with it. Don't micromanage people. If I give you a task, let people get on with it. Empower people to do things, because that's how they will learn. Give them the responsibility. When you give people responsibility, they get motivated. But be there to support them and guide them when they need help. As an organisation, you know, we've got 2,000 people, you know, Yousaf's got similar. I tell my team, I want you to do why. We have a discussion, how are we going to do it? I just let them go on with it. You report back to me every week. You report back to me monthly. Why do spot checks? Just let people get on with their jobs. A lot of people are going to be better than you at what job they're doing, because they're the experts, they're the professionals. As a leader, you don't need to do their job. Your job is to support and motivate them. So let people get on with it and empower them as well. The other thing is developing people. Learning new things motivates people. One of the most important things I learned in life is stepping outside your comfort zone. That's when the learning actually happens. If you're really comfortable with something, you're not going to learn, you're not going to grow, you're going to become very complacent and you're going to fall behind times. And there's going to be other people. If you look at the moment, so you might say, you know, your parents and you, at the time of your parents, they didn't have technology, did they? So if they didn't learn technology as they moved along, and I'm talking about some of the bosses as well, do you still think they could compete in this modern world? No, they can't. Gone are the days when you should write letters to people. Gone are the days when you should leave notes on people's desks. We could do that through email. So if you're a boss who can't communicate through email, they're not going to get on in the organisation, are they? So we've got to develop people in new things. And we could do that for them going to courses, by reading stuff as well. But a lot of the development comes through mentoring. You know, I can mentor somebody. It comes through coaching. And it comes through delegation. As a boss, I may think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, but I can't do 100 tasks. I've got to delegate some stuff to other people. So there's two ways you delegate stuff to people. Either they're really good at it, or the other way, you delegate stuff if you want them to develop new skills. So if I want somebody to develop some leadership skills, I'll say, this is a task. Can you look at it and move forward with that task as well? The other thing that is really, really important in leadership is getting innovation and creativity. In this complex world, we need people with different ideas and different thoughts. So for me, diversity and inclusion is important. So does everybody understand diversity? Okay. So what does diversity mean to people?
Different kind of people on a one place. At a one place, different kind of people.
So what? Male, female? Is that diversity for you? Different.
With different skills, with different potentials.
Yeah. Okay. So you got diversity in terms of, we got diversity in this classroom. You got males, you got females, we've got people from different ages. But the most important diversity is the diversity of thought. So you have people with different political skills, social skills, educational skills, experience, and different. So diversity of thought is really, really important. So people from KPK will have different sort of skill set. People from Azad Kashmir, from Punjab, we have different. So diversity of thought is really, really important. And we're dealing with some of these complex problems. We need to get everybody's views and ideas. Like if I asked a question, every single one of you will probably have a different answer to it. I'm not saying it's the wrong answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer. But for that situation, somebody might say to me, I think that's a real good answer. Let me give an example of that, talk about an example. So my son, he's an intervention radiologist, and he's really good at his job. So I wanted to bring him back, to connect him back to Pakistan. He came to Pakistan, he went to the local village, he liked it. At the end of the trip, he said, Dad, if you want me to come back to Pakistan, you have to give me the same living standard as in UK. I come to Gram, and people are talking about manja and gaya. They're talking about this raksha, this, I bought a car. He said, Dad, I'm not interested in that. I'm a top doctor. I'm not. You have to put me in places where I get hot water, I get electricity, I talk to people in my caliber. I don't want to talk about somebody's bought a beautiful cow. He said, all cows look the same to me. I don't know why this guy said this cow is more beautiful than the other cow. He said, I just cannot relate to people. If you want me to come back to this country, buy me something in Barrier Town. And guess what? We invested in Barrier Town, we bought property in Barrier Town. And my son, who travelled all across the world like I have, he doesn't go anywhere now for a holiday, he comes to Pakistan. Because he could relate to people, and the important thing, it's the same standard or similar to what he gets in UK. So that innovation and creativity is really good, but you got to listen to people there as well. One of the things is collaboration. So do people understand what collaboration means? Any ideas what collaboration means?
Sharing of ideas and conclude a mutual perspective, a common point.
Yeah. It's about working with other dare. It's about working with other institutes. You know what? You know, if we are going to tackle some of the problems in society, and Muhammad Yousaf will touch on that, you know what? People going to prison. So if you lock up somebody who's a degate, he goes to prison. He goes to prison, he speaks to other people, and he gets really, really better at his job. But we're not addressing some of the core factors. So the core of the factor is, the reason he's robbing, because he can't get a job. He can't get a job, and then if he can't get a job, if he isn't robbing, he's not feeding his family. So what we have to do is a whole society approach. We have to get social services involved, we have to get education department, probation, police, everybody involved so we could tackle the root cause of that problem. So it's a whole society approach. So it's working in partnership around that sort of stuff. Me and Yousaf did a project with Punjab Police recently. They wanted to register sex offenders because that was an issue. If somebody committed a sex offence in Lahore, they ended up in Peshawar, nobody knew about it. But we have to work with different departments so we can make sure that it happens. So collaboration is about team working. It's about partnership, working with different organisations so we can look at the problems, share our skill sets. So teachers here will have a different skill set to police officers, who will have a different skill to business people. So we have to work together with all the individuals, combine our skill set so that we can make sure that we work together. One final thing before I say a couple of other things as well. What do you think's missing in all I've said in terms of leadership? So I've mentioned all that stuff for you. There's one important thing that's missing, which leaders don't do enough of. So I'll ask that side, not you because you already answered. Anybody else, what is missing from everything I said, but it's the most important thing in leaders should do?
Leadership, think out of the box.
Yeah. That's outside your comfort zone, isn't it? Okay. Anything else? You're still missing. You haven't answered my question yet. It's not what I'm looking for. Anybody from the back? What's the most important role of a leader? I've gone through everything there, but there's one important thing that's missing that I should do as a leader.
Accountability.
I've talked about accountability. That's true. As a leader, accountability. Yep, you're right. Because I've just mentioned a few things. Accountability, but it's not the thing I'm looking for. This side?
Patience.
Patience? You need a lot of patience. I get that. You do. But it's not the thing I'm looking for.
Planning the things.
Sorry?
Planning the things.
Planning is important, but it's not the thing I'm looking for.
Optimism.
Opportunities, yeah, but it's not the thing I'm looking for.
Motivation.
Motivation, I mentioned that.
Positive behavior.
Positive behavior is good.
Critical thinking.
Let me tell you one thing. If you've done a good job and you've done a fantastic job, what do you want your boss to do?
Empathy.
Appreciation, reward and recognition, a simple thank you. The most important thing of a leader he should do is appreciate and reward his staff. And that's by either a simple shabash, you've done a great job. How many times where you've done something really, really good and your peers or your superiors have just ignored you? And you said, I spent all evening doing this presentation, I spent all morning doing the presentation, I missed my meal doing the presentation, and nobody's even said, you know what, well done, thank you. It goes a long way. All I would say as a leader, if you don't follow any of the other things I said, that shabash or that thank you goes a long way. So that could range with a simple thank you, well done, to rewards and recognition, certificates, trips out, courses. That is really, really important. I tell you, if any of you did something wrong, I'd go find you and tell you off because you did something wrong. But if you did something really, really well, would I go find you and do that? Probably not. But if, like you're sitting there or people sitting there, I said to you, do you know what? You know what you said? A lot of you contributed to my president. Well done. I really like that. That is enough. As humans, we like to be appreciated. We like that ego boost. We want somebody to say shabash to us. You know, as kids, some of our parents, and some of us were favourite kids of their parents, and we know that. And if a dad or a mother sits next to you, say, son, you've done really well at school, you've gotten the grades, you've done that. How does that make you feel? Really makes you feel valued, doesn't it? Appreciate, and you need to do that as well. So for me, good leaders are made. They're not born. There's very rare leaders that are born. Leaders are made. And for me, put it another way, leadership is a skill set that can be developed. Like that muscle. You could develop, you could learn. You know, if you look at some of the great leaders in the world, some of the things that I've mentioned, they all have that quality in me. So just two things I need to mention before I hand over to Hanif Yousaf to talk about emotional intelligence. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. As a Pakistani nation, and I may be totally wrong, tell me, but what I notice on several visits I hear, the Pakistani nation are afraid to make mistakes because of embarrassment. Look, I tell my juniors or my colleagues, make mistakes. Because the greatest development, the greatest change in ideas come from making mistakes. Because your learning comes from making mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not thinking, you're not creative, you're not outside the box, as somebody said there. Be happy to make mistakes. The learning comes from mistakes. And I encourage, you might think when I do my introduction talk, a lot of my colleagues get surprised. I tell people, I want you to make mistakes because you will learn from them. If you make that mistake 10 times, there's something wrong with you then, isn't there? Does that make sense? But you need to not to be afraid to make mistakes. And the final thing is, we don't like to ask people. I don't know why. Is it embarrassment or not? By asking people, you'll be surprised there'll be people willing there to help you. You open doors, you open opportunities in terms of that. And I'll give you an example of my son. He was like that, Dad, oh, you can't ask people, you don't ask people. I said, no, ask people. He then approached one of the top doctors in the UK to be his mentor. And when he asked him, he said, yeah, I'm really happy to be your mentor. He asked. You know, people here, you know, write to international companies, write to some real big people, say, can you be my mentor? Can you give my guidance? We are not, as human beings, we're embarrassed to ask people. It's not going to happen all the time. I'm not saying you ask whoever, give me that, they may not there. But by just ask, even if you ask your teacher, can I spend an extra half an hour? I don't really understand this. I bet you what, they'll say, yeah, I could do that. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. And don't be afraid to ask. Because you know what? It's your life. Your life, what we're talking about. You only live once. But if you live it right, once is enough. You need to make sure you make the most of your life. You're not going to get everything in life, but you've got to create them opportunities. You've got to open the doors for you. Nobody gives you anything on a plate in life. If you think that's going to happen for you, you're in a dreamland. Make sure you create your own opportunities and you watch miracles happen. And you know, somebody said that positive mindset. Be positive to make mistakes and be positive to ask people. So I'm going to finish on that. And then I'm going to have on to my colleague who's going to talk about a real important part of leadership, which is emotional intelligence. And he's a lot better talking about emotional intelligence than I am. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I just need you to smile because I think I've been sitting there for an hour. Now, either Mr. Hanif has bored you or you're very tired, so I need you all to smile a little bit, yeah? Come on, smile. Smile is charity, is zakat. In hadith, it's written when you smile, it's charity. I don't want to come to a lecture where people smiling. Get engaged, ask questions as we go along, okay? So please be happy because we're only here. We've traveled 10 hours in an aeroplane to come to Pakistan to give you something to take away from us. And I'm sure that we will take something away from you as well. So in investigations, obviously I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I'm the senior detective in charge of the serious organised criminal exploitation and offender management. So we manage, my team manages, or my teams manage serious offenders who commit murder and serious offences whilst they're in prison or when they're in the community and they need to be managed. Mohammed talked about emotional intelligence in some aspects through his lecture or his delivery. But emotional intelligence is one of the most key parts of leadership. There are certain types of leaderships in Pakistan. Now, I go to Pakistan every year in and out. And I'm Pakistani in my heart, but I'm a British citizen. I spent 54 years or 52 years of my life in the UK. I too have children. My two children are doctors. One's a dentist, one's a GP, general practitioner. And my other son is a lawyer, he's a barrister. He works in his own firm. And my two girls are both teachers. So I come from a family of barristers, lawyers, and doctors. I chose to be on the other side of the fence to become a police officer. So I've got 27 years in the police service. I have got 3 years to go, and I've just done a degree in criminology and policing, and I'm doing a master's in law. So when I do retire, I will get on the other fence and help the criminals. Okay? No, that's not it. But I'll either do that, but I'm also lecturing at the University of East London on criminology, so it's online lectures. So I have a lot of education background that sits there. So I don't want to bore you, but what I want you to do is be excited and be happy, okay? In Lahore, I haven't met any Pashtuns yet. Is there any Pashtuns in this audience from KPK? No? Everywhere I go, they're all like, Punjabis and no Pashtuns in Lahore. It's not really nice, is it? Okay. So emotional intelligence is a type of leadership. There are certain types of leadership. So my degree included an essay and a semester around leadership. And I scored really, really high in it. So my lecturers were really interested in me taking on the leadership part of the next BSc. When you talk about leadership, as Mohammed said, you have to know yourself. So there are certain type of leaderships, authoritarian leadership. And I see in Pakistan a lot of authoritarian leadership. So if you go to a hospital and you say to a doctor, maybe ladki or ladka, assalamu alaikum, where's the thingy? Udhar jao. Idhar jao. You go to a reception, yaar, pata nahi hai, udhar jao. And I feel, is this something that these people have? When I say these people, me, but I've gone away from here for a long time, haven't I? So, or is it something that's in the culture of our people? And we talk a lot, don't we? So if me and you have a conversation, somebody goes, or if I ask you a question as well, I say, how are you, where have you been? You'll start talking really, really fast. And so the art of communication is listening. So when I say to you, where have you been today? You say, well, step back, you stop, think, and then react. For we people, no man, we're 20 miles an hour like motorway on the M2, M1, kya haal hai? Yeah, we have to, but that's a culture we have. So I lead on promotion to DSPs and SHOs and DPOs, I interview people, and I interviewed a Sikh girl, and they're the same as well. A lovely, lovely girl, very nice girl. And when I interviewed her, I failed her. She was coming to become SHO. And she goes to me, she phoned me up and says, sir, can you give me some feedback? I said, yeah, of course. So she's come back, and I said, right, first of all, you need to deliver what you've gained, what you've experienced. So when you go to an interview and I ask you a question, can you give me an example? What have you done to prepare yourself for this interview today? You've got to tell me what you've done. So did you research? Did you look at the role? Did you look at the organization? Did you look at how you manage people? What's expected of an SHO, etc., etc.? But I also said to her, I said, Bhupinda, you need to slow down. So talk to me like if you really, really like me, you know what I mean? Just talk to me, asta. So she said, okay, boss, we call Sir Boss, yeah, they call him boss. She said, I'll come and see you every month, once or twice. I said, see the secretary, put yourself in the diary, and I don't mind doing it. Because you can't just come and see, you have to make appointments. And she did, and she came, and I was talking to her. Every time she talked, I'll say, asta. When you're talking to somebody, you have to give them a slow version of what you've done. If you go, they're going to say, well, hold on, slow down. What are you talking about? I don't even understand what you're saying. Because we have to write everything. So we need to catch what you're saying. And if you're talking too fast, you lose and you miss out key things. So when you're a leader, you have to give clear direction as to what you want people to do. And in leadership, people want to be given responsibility. So if you worked for me, I don't even know your name. What's your name? Mariam. Oh, beautiful name. Mariam, if you worked for me and I go into your office and say, Mariam, how are you today? How is it going? How was your day yesterday? Oh, Mariam, can you do me a favor? I just need you to do this task for me. But let me explain to you. It's like that. But go and see your SHO, and they will take you to you. But then by 12 o'clock, let me know what you've done around it. Are you okay with that? Do you understand it? What I'm doing is clarifying. So in senior investigation, there is a rule of ABC. Assess everything, believe no one, and check everything. Yeah? So then I'll say, you're happy, Mariam? Take it out, Khusha? Okay, do I know you are? You go away. And in emotional intelligence, the authoritarian, let me just go back to authoritarian leadership. Authoritarian leadership is about telling people what to do Okay, you become a badmash and you tell people what to do, but वो तो करता है, फिर बोलते हैं यार ये क्या कौन सा बंदा है, ये वगैरह, you know what I mean? They just don't believe in you, don't want to work for you. सुबह उठता है चाचा भी, no God, I've got to go and work for him again or for Mariam again. You know, oh God, I have to spend a day with her in the office. You know, and you see some of them, you all got selfies and Instagram, and I'm sure you all got it. You're all on Facebook, I'm sure you have. And then you see all these new videos coming out of India. You know, they do some of these, what they call them, test videos where they create a scenario and try to be, you see them, and treat people disrespectfully, and then they tell them and say, we shouldn't be doing that. That goes on in third world countries. It goes on in Western countries, but not as much because there's policy, processes, and procedures. So when you're talking to people, don't be an authoritarian leader, because it's not about that. If you work for my company, I want my company to perform, to give us the performance that I want. So if you're in this college or whatever, university, we want you to perform. And I want to know how many people achieve degrees and qualifications and how many people then are successful in getting jobs. I don't want to just come here and make paise and say, oh, you, idhar aa jao, udhar jao. That's disrespectful. You are somebody's daughters, somebody's sisters, somebody's wives, somebody's girlfriends. You're the same, somebody's boyfriend, husbands, wives, etc. Okay, well, what makes you different to mine? Nothing. You're my sister, you're my daughter, you're my wife, you're my girlfriend. Nothing makes you different. And you've got to understand, you've got to respect people. And when you respect people, you get the result that you want. I'm sorry, I'm a Pakistani, I'm a thorough Pakistani, British Pakistani, but some of us, when I go to some institutes, like hospitals, other places, I see some things that I don't really like. Because that's not leadership. That's not how we want to get Pakistan to progress and go forward. Samjhna? So emotional intelligence and transformational leadership or transactional leadership, they all come hand in hand. And emotional intelligence is based on 5 elements. And some of it has been talked about. Self-awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So self-awareness is be aware of yourself. Who am I? What am I? Can I be a leader? Not all of you can be leaders, because leaders and managers are 2 different things. You need a bit of both to be a successful leader. So you've got to ask yourself, some people are not leaders, they want to be leaders, but they're not. And leaders don't work, people work for them. And regulation, so if Mariam, I picked on Mariam, sorry, Mariam did something wrong, and I get into the office, oh yaar Mariam, are you stupid? Why did you do that yesterday? Could you not do it this way? Well, sir, you know, here I feel sir ji, minimum, ya ghalti hui, waghaira, you know, I would never say that to any of my boss, oh sir, ghalti hui, you know, but she's like really shaking herself, really scared, you know. That's not what I want. I can say to her, Mariam, aaja, sit down. Mariam, jo kaam aapne kiya kal, can you just take me through it, how you did it, please? And she said, boss, or sir, मैंने ऐसे किया. I said, Mariam, अगर आप इस तरह जा, you know, chali, you know, went that way. Sorry, my Urdu is not brilliant. I'm practicing still. Would that be better? So if you'd gone that way, then maybe, you know, you would have got more money rather than going that way. And she said, yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right, sir. You're right. I think we should have done it. Take it, Mariam, but just make sure next time you ask if you're not sure. She walks out of my office and she'll say, Sir's bahut acha aadmi hai na. Samjhe na? In the first one, she'll say, oh, who's this pagal banda? I'm not going to work for him. Every time she sees me, she'll be scared of me. That's not what I want. I want her to be happy, come to work and smile and get everybody else to smile. You know, that's how you buy in. Motivation, you have to motivate your people. You have to. And Mohammed's mentioned a few things. But that's about developing stuff, giving them ownership. Tell somebody, you are in charge of this, go and do it. You know, they may make a mistake because they're not. But always ask the stupid question that you think is a stupid question, but it might not be. When I joined the force first, I served in London for 8 years before I came to this West Midlands force. I was about 26 years old when I joined. And I wasn't sure about things, and I used to ask these questions. And somebody said, why are you asking stupid questions, Yousaf? I said, well, to you it might be stupid, but to me it's not, because I don't know it, I want to learn. You know? And I just run through the ranks like that. You know, I'm a Pathan anyway. You know, I run through the ranks. Pathans are good people and they're very clever. Is that right? Yeah. You're not smiling, are you? God Almighty! Come on, keep smiling. So that's important motivation. You've got to value people. You've got to support people. You've got to reward people, and you've got to say to them a thank you. Thank you goes a long, long way. Okay, and then empathy. Be empathetic to people. So if my officers comes in and say, boss, you know, sir, somebody's mother's ill, she's in hospital, you know, she just needs some time off. Say, yeah, go on. As long as they're not pulling wool over my eyes, jhoot bolna. But then we are good at, you know, finding out who's telling jhoot. Because if you tell jhoot, you're out of the job. I would say, why not? What if my mother was ill? Wouldn't I want to go and see in a hospital? Of course I will. Go on. Chalo ja. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if you need more time. You know, there's policy and process, but that's empathetic. You know, and those people will love you. They will love you, they will work for you, they will respect you, and they will go the extra mile for you. That's what leadership is all about. Social skills. You know, join your team, just have a little bit of a game with them. You know, in England, people go drinking sharab and stuff. I don't go drinking sharab, but, you know, the people go out partying and all that. I don't. Senior officers, we don't go. But if they're playing something else, we go and join them. We go and sit with them. So Mohammed and I come in the morning to the office at 6:30, 6 o'clock. We go to the response officers who respond to your 999 calls. I think you, what is it, 221 here? What's the emergency call here? What's your emergency police call? What is it? 911. What is it? Oh, whatever, okay. We go and say, hello guys, how are you? They know senior officers come in. We're not in charge of them, but we go in and they see us, oh, sirs, come down, it's very nice. How are you today? What's happening today? Who's what? Where are you? What's happening? They might ask and say, sir, what's happening around so-and-so? And we give them the answer, or if we don't know, he says, don't worry, we'll come back to you. We all speak to the SHO, DSPs, or whoever they are, you know? So that's the important thing, is be visible when you're a leader. Don't go home, 11 baje aata hai, 12 baje roti khata hai, 13 baje chutti karta hai. Samjhe na? No. Go and be visible so people can see you. If you look, Google it, the boss will love you if you're at work. Don't be sitting at home. Okay? So and leaders, be visible. If you need something else, say, boss or sir, can we just need some advice on that? They don't normally come to us, but they go to the, you know, DSP, SPs and all that. But the fact is that, you know, we need to be visible so they know we're there, we're at work, we're not at home. And they know when we're there, like I have different stations. I have 5, 6 stations where my officers are scattered. I just go in now and then, you know. Usko koi pata nahi hai ki boss aa raha hai aaj. So I just go in. A, I want to check what they're doing. B, I want to see what their behavior is. And C, they know I care about them, and I come and have a cup of tea with them. You know, I don't investigate, I oversee investigation. You know? So our job is to set strategy, direction, yeah, and policies and processes are being followed. That's what we do. And then if something comes to the media, we talk to them. You know, that's what it is. And social skills, that's important. So, you know, be involved with your team, etc. So when you work about collaboration, so we talked about collaboration. So it's about, collaboration is a key thing in the Western world, and it should be here, but I understand here it doesn't work that well. But collaboration is started to come into third world countries. So when you want to collaborate, so what's your name? Okay, Muqaddar. Muqaddas. Okay, Muqaddas is here. She is in charge of the housing in Lahore Authority. Yeah, and I have some issues here around the housing where she's in charge. There's lots of burglaries going on and robberies. Do you know the difference between robbery and burglary? No? Anybody knows the difference between robbery and burglary? A burglary is when somebody breaks into your house and steal your stuff, yeah? Well, you call it robbery. A robbery is somebody beats you up and takes something from you. Yeah, like, you know, give you a punch and take your pese, you know, that fancy luck you've got, you know. And then, so the important thing is around understanding what you're doing and your staff. So I did an operation where it's on YouTube. You can look it up on YouTube. I did an operation where we had some people who were robbing people going into their house at night with a gun and knives and taking their cars, Audis, BMWs and Range Rovers and jewelry, Pakistani jewelries, that sona. So they committed 46 offences across four forces, and we had to make sure that we apprehend them. And they were very, very, that investigation was very complex because we had to work with 4 forces to try and identify those and catch them. And I didn't want to just catch them for 2-3 offences. I wanted to catch them for all 46 offences and send them away. So my team was dedicated, so I had to work overtime every single time. Their families were waiting at home. But because they were motivated and they knew that they were working for me, they were happy to stay on. Obviously, they get overtime, not more money they make, but they were happy to do it. And within months, we started to put the picture together to see who these people were. So then we arrested them. When we arrested them, we convicted them, and they went to prison for 65 years, which is a long time being behind bars. So collaboration, if you were in charge of thingy, what I want to do is first of all identify who I want to work with. So that way, Muqaddas, I'll be working with you, but then there might be somebody else I want to work with, maybe the health authority, maybe the mental health, etc., etc. And then I will influence you, because influence means how do I win your heart? How do I want you to work with me? So I might just sit with you for a cup of tea, say, Muqaddas, this is happening. This is what's the benefit for you, for your organization. This is for my organization. This is what we're trying to achieve. And you'll say, okay, fair enough. Yeah, we can do that. And then what we'll do is create a method of understanding. You have these are very important things if you want to be leaders. A method of understanding is sit around the table and say, right, okay, we've got this issue here. How do we deal with this? It doesn't mean to say the police are in charge. Nobody's in charge. We're a group of people and we need to deal with it together. So then you might say, Muqaddas, all right, I'll take that one, but I also take that one. So 2 things you've taken from the table, yeah? But if I'd phoned you and say, Muqaddas, you'll say, yeah, I'll give you this one, yeah. But when you sit around the table, people can say, no, I can do some of that. No. You know what I mean? You can take lots of things from there. So everybody takes one. Okay, you deal with that, you deal with that, you deal with that. And what we'll do next week, we come together to see how we're getting on and supporting each other. Yeah? And then what we do is we create a service level agreement. A service level agreement is that we create a document where we say, right, you've got the ownership and you need to deal with this. It holds you accountable. We stamp it. So you have to follow that policy. So you can't, no good, you go to sleep then and forget about it. So when you come to a meeting next time, you have to tell me what you've done around it. So that's important. And then what you do is you look at how you're performing. If you're not performing, you review it. You review it to see whether you're going to need to change your plans or is it working. So always look at that innovation. Always look at new things, new ideas. So all of you will have some good ideas for this place or something for us in question and answers time to take away from here. So, I don't know it all. He don't know it all. We all have good ideas. If any person that says to you, I know it all, or main bahut hoshyar banda hai, you know what I mean? They are either pagal or there's something going on. They're not. Nobody knows everything. I've been in the police 27 years. He's been in the police 31 years. We don't know it all. And our officers know sometimes more than what we know. And we need to grab it and put it in our pocket. So if you become doctors or teachers, I don't know what do you want to be then? What are you doing?
I'm doing BS in sociology.
Okay. And what about you, Mariam?
I'm doing public relations and advertising.
Very good. So there you go. If you become leaders or you go and work, you have to lead people. You have to work with people. You have to win hearts. Win hearts and minds. You can't go, oi, do this, chalo jao, idhar karo, wo karo. I watch some of those Indian movies when the girl's sitting in the office and the chacha comes bring tea. Oh yeah, get away, kya hai? Oh, he says, oh Betty. Why are you calling me Betty? Kaun hai? Main tumhara manager hai. Kis tarah maine call Betty bol raha hai? All that bakwas that you see, it's get rid of that. Always treat people with respect and people will treat you with respect. You are the future of Pakistan. You will lead Pakistan in politics, in social care, in agriculture, in mental health, in medicine, whatever. You will lead Pakistan. You are the leaders. You've got to think that way, and don't ever say to anybody, or don't let anybody say to you that you can't make it. Because me, I'm 57 years old and I'm doing a master's in law and I'm doing a BSc in policing and criminology. I love education. I love standing there, listening, researching, looking at leadership, modern day slavery, human trafficking, social, exploitation of children. All those things are key elements of your development. So emotional intelligence is about understanding yourself and understanding others and making sure that you give others the opportunity to develop, not just yourself, and to keep it in your family. Like I don't want to name names because obviously, well, this is my daughters, this is my son, this is my father, this is my grandfather. Hold on, well, what about somebody else's daughter? What about somebody else's son? So don't go thinking it's all about you. It's not. It's about us as a country and as Pakistanis. We love Pakistan, and we need to make sure that Pakistan prosper, and it can only prosper through good leaders. When there's no good leaders, you'll have the same situation as it is on the roads, aren't there? Scooters going this way, motorway this way, everywhere. It's madness. I was in Peshawar the other day. I see the chacha in Suzuki with 3 kids sitting on the dashboard, 2 by his side, yeah? And I mean, what kind of leadership did that chacha give the children? Come on, for God's sake. And what kind of safety, risk assessment is he thinking? If he has an accident, oh, Allah ni marzi, Allah ni marzi. Oh yeah, Allah ni to aapko akal diya na, kya hal hai? Lekin akal istemal nahi karta. Always when you do something, risk assess it. Look at it. For example, if you've got this gas pipa in your house, where is it? What if it blows up? Well, who's going to get hurt? Keep it somewhere far where, always risk assess no matter what you do. When you walk out the building here, crossing the road, risk assess. What's coming to my right? What's in the back? That kind of thing. Always risk assess. Understand. Think that way. Think positive around yourselves, around the people around you. Don't ever feel that you can't do anything, because you can. I think you have been a lovely audience today. I know you haven't been smiling a lot, but I thoroughly enjoyed being here today. I think that's the end of my conversation. And any questions we'll take. Please.
Thank you very much. I think you've heard us for probably just over an hour. More than happy. I don't know whether people allow you to ask questions or not, but I'm happy to. Any questions you ask, please ask. For me, there's no silly question. It's better to be a fool for one day than to be a fool for the rest of your life. So if there's any questions that people want to ask about leadership, anything about UK or anything in general, you've probably got an audience here for the next 15 minutes, more than happy to answer any questions.
Ask questions, don't be scared.
All I'll say, just say your name, what background you come from, and that's all I need. If you don't say it just helps me. So, sorry.
My name is Mariam, and I'm studying MPhil.
Two Mariams, yeah? Okay.
From the same class.
Okay.
My question is leader supposed to be selfless or not? Like he has to think about...
Why does a leader need to be a he?
She. It's a dominant pronoun, I guess, so I mentioned he. Is he supposed to be selfless or not? I mean, he always think about his companions and his team. So is he supposed to be a selfless character?
If I start to give my view, then Yousaf, I think good leaders are selfless leaders. They put their team and their people before everybody else. You'll probably know, and I'm not into politics, I don't talk about politics and stuff like that, but if I talk about somebody in South Africa, there's a leader called Nelson Mandela. You must have heard or read about Nelson Mandela. He spent so many years in prison just to free black people. People remember him today. I think he's died some time ago. Yes, he does. Great leaders, I'm not talking about good, great leaders are selfless. They help other people achieve things. Like I said to you, a great leader will take all the blame when things go wrong. He will go to his bosses. This is my team, but I take responsibility because my team has failed you. So the bosses don't come down and tell each and every one of you off. They'll come and tell me off. Great leaders, we share good news and credibility. He will go or she will go to the bosses, my team done this for me. The credit goes to my team, not me. But the bosses know, because he's a good leader, he's taken the blame, and he's a good leader, gives all his credit to the team. Those are the people that individuals want to follow. There's some good leaders, there's some great leaders and bad leaders. There's some leaders, and you probably come across those leaders, they are totally awful. They're horrible to work for. They don't have followers because they have a position and status. But in a few days' time, them organizations will crumble. And the first thing I said to you all here, that 90% of business startups fail in the long term. And one of the reasons is lack of effective leaders who do it for themselves, but not for others. Does that make sense?
Just a couple of things. I think I said to you earlier on, good leaders, they don't need to work, people work for them. You know, and it's about how you manage the people that work for you and how you respect them and how you look after them. But that doesn't mean to say, oh, jo kuch karta hai, kar sakta hai, you know. It's not about that. It's about following policy, process and procedures, but it's about, you know, you're doing a great job, you're doing well, let's do this, let's do that, how do we do it? Get their feedback, you know, sit amongst themselves, you know, eat with them, drink with them, that kind of thing. It's you know, I know for a fact that we don't work, we sit in the office upstairs. But all we do is send email or talk to them, and if we need to call somebody, we need to call somebody, but the work gets done. So in senior leadership, there's a mnemonic called PIE, PI. So if I say to you, if you were in charge of a company, how much do you think performance is important out of 100%? If you to achieve. So if you're at a hospital, say this is your company here, and you produce cars, yeah? How much do you think your performance to you is important? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, there you go. And it's not. It's only what? 10% for me. And the I is impact. What impact do you have on people? And AE is exposure. So it's 30%, 10, 30, and 60%. And you know what? It works. That's senior leadership for you there. Performance is important, but not to me because I'm a leader. People work for me because I don't worry about performance. If I treat people and I do it right, my performance takes care of itself.
Like I said to you earlier, if you listen to my talk, which I'm sure you wanted attention, as a leader, I'm not responsible for the performance. I'm responsible for the people who are responsible for the performance. It's the people who do the performance. I do the leadership. I motivate you, I inspire you, I give you direction, I give you guidance, and I reward you. I say at the end of the day, you've done a great job in terms of performance. That's the difference. So don't worry about performance. And if I put a Islamic slant on this, and just remember one thing, this is very important, is that you are not in charge of the outcome. Your job is to put the effort and energy in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responsible for the outcome. There's many times where you've worked really, really hard, you put all the effort in, but you failed. And you realize what I failed. Sometimes you put little effort in, but you have the right effort and the right result. I don't worry about the end result, because the end result is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your job is to put the energy, effort, and the best you can. And just remember one thing, and this is what I tell my staff, it's not about perfection. It's never about perfection. It's about the best you can do. You will never be as good as I am in some things, and I will never be as good as you in other things. I don't expect you to do the work at my standard, and you shouldn't expect me to do work standard. You do the best you can. And if you could give the best you can, that should be good about you. It's not about perfection. And you know what, as a Qawm, as a nation, we worry about it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. Do you know what? If we get things 50% or 75% right, that's really, really good. Don't worry about perfection. Just do the best you can.
So when we do promotion interviews, we're not looking for brilliant police officers. We're looking for leaders, people who can take people. So when we ask the question, we want them to respond to us with the fact that they've got a vision of leadership and how are they going to lead people. Because when I'm sitting in the office, I want that person to lead people. I don't want them to knock on my door, sir, what about this, sir, what about this? Because I'll have a headache. You understand? So we're looking for leaders. Let's have another question and we'll answer the question. Should we have it from the gentleman?
Should we have
side?
gents and then we go females? So happy.
Questions.
How many?
I have got two questions.
Oh, you can ask one. Yeah. No, go on.
Chalo, tell us who you are. Tell us who you are
And what you do.
What you do.
My name is Farhan and I am from Azad Kashmir. Currently living here in Lahore and I am studying BS Economics. That's my last semester. So I have got one question that you gave the example of an auntie that if you got clashed with someone and she got told about you, told about something rude, and we got we can say that we should quit and we will talk to our colleague that your mom said this. First of all, we हमने किया है कि सब्र किया है कि we should not say anything rude that can be disrespectful. So we got to their son that your mom did this, and they have got their own situation, and they can say that you are lying or you are something like ab tuhmat laga rahe, like this. So as a leader mindset, what should we do at that situation? That if we have tried to convey our message that your mom did this or your dad did this, and they opposite that you are lying or you are doing this. So
I think,
what should we do at that point?
I think the example I gave you is leaders are responsible for their actions and their actions have impact. So let me tell you of a situation. So you came here and you did this and you threw my book on the floor. I or you wanting control of that situation, weren't you? You weren't control because my book's gone on the floor. You accidentally fixed it. So you or I was in control of the situation. Now, how I react to that is two different ways. I could say, "Oh, बेवकूफ आदमी, ये मेरी किताब है, आप नीचे गिरा दिए, आप देखता नहीं आना थे." What are you going to say to me?
Not a good idea.
It's not good. So you dropped my book on the table. I got very feelings. Yaar, bedtamiz aadmi hai, he's dropped my book on the floor. I'm feeling very angry. I'm feeling very annoyed. And I could say and act that way. Or I could say, son, just be careful. This book is worth a lot of money for me. And it's very, very valuable to me. And you know what? In the future, when you're walking, can you either walk behind or walk past me? How do you feel now? You feel good, don't you?
And that comes to self-regulation.
And that's about I am in control of my actions and how my actions affects my behavior to you. So my relationship with you by addressing that way is good. If I did it the first way, bedtamiz aadmi ye kya kiya, aapko akal dimag hai, that's impacted my relationship with you, hasn't it? Does that make sense? So as a boss, I shouldn't put fear into you. The other thing I need to ask you sometimes, I might need to ask you, what's going behind your background? Let me give you a scenario, Yousaf, a situation. Some of you, and I'm not saying all of you, and it may not happen, some of you may have very problematic issues at home. Some of your parents might not let the students come to school because you're females and stuff like that. You've got all that going in your background. Sometimes you might do something that I'm not happy with. So either I could react, "Oh, befkoof aadmi, you that," or I could say to you, "Hang on." Like if you like you just saying, somebody in the background, I'll pick on a different person, I'll pick on this individual, like he's on the phone here, you know what, which can be irritating, when you're on the phone. So I could really shout at you, or I could say, it might be your mother is not well at home, or your father's not well at home. I could say, "Bhai, aap phone mein khe rahe, is there a problem, is there an issue?" You say, "Sir, there's a problem, there's an issue at home, I can say, okay, that's fine. But you know what, if you want to play on your phone, go outside and we can deal with that. But if you're just playing on your phone, I can say the other way, yaar kitna bequeef hai, main itna time spend kiya coming and talking, and you're playing on your phone.
Embarrassing that.
No, I'm just saying, I don't embarrass you, but I'm just saying, you might have something in the background which is affecting your performance. As a leader, it's my job not to shout at you, not to get angry, is sit you down and say, is there anything in your background that's affecting your performance? Is there anything I need to, and you might, it's happened to me at work. This girl broke down in tears. Her mother had cancer. She wasn't performing well, but there was things in her background that were affecting her performance. So I took her aside, I didn't shout at her. What we did, we addressed some of the issues. I said, go home, sort your mother out, do this, do that. She came back and she said, sir, thank you very much. That day was really difficult for me. But if you shouted at me and you acted like that, that would have a lasting impact on me, and mine and your relationship would have been affected. Does that make sense? It's how, as a leader, you approach things.
I think
you could approach it in a very rude manner, or you could do it looking at what the issues and problems and address the issue.
Put into two words, regulation, self-regulation around the emotional intelligence. So how you react and how you treat people. That's a simple answer.
Yeah.
And in England, we say, arguing with a fool makes two fools.
I never shout at people. I rarely shout at people, because either I want to help them, or there's something going on in the background that I need to look at.
And that's exactly what I was saying in Pakistan. This is my experience only now, you know. People will just they don't care what's going on. It's like when I went to hospital, I said, "Udhar jao," you know. Here I am trying to get a flight, and it was COVID and everything. Oh, udhar jao. Nobody's helping you. And that's when people start to react. In England, you do that, you'll see loads of complaints.
And one of the things I will say to you boys,
just give me 2 seconds. You know, you'll see that in England, that if something like that happens, the community will react. And we as police officers will face demonstrations. And that's not what we want. We want our officers to be out there and treat people with respect, understand the culture, understand their religion. So for example, very quickly, if a female dies at home, a girl, mother, well, our officers have to go and check the body. Now, I know because I'm a Muslim, and I know how to read the dua. Some may not, but some of the Gore's officers go there, and they don't. So we have to teach the culture and say you can't go and examine a Muslim or a woman's body. And we now in the organization have developed officers so much that they know whenever there's a female, a Muslim female that dies, or a female from the Asian culture, they will get probably Asian officer woman or a woman. But anyway, no matter what culture you're in now, it will be a female to go and check the body, to make sure she hasn't been stabbed or shot or whatever before they can be taken to a mortuary. So that's very important. So cultures and we've made some really good points that are going on. We're just going to give some more.
I think he's got his second question now. He's still got your second question. So I'm good at that, don't I? I remember that. Go on.
So, sir, I was asking that if we are working in a workplace, so if we have learned something with our experience and we guide someone that our colleague that you should do this way, so that would be a good. And if we met some toxic people and we say they say that we will learn ourselves with our own experience, don't guide us or don't tell us how to do that. So how should we deal that?
Then people never learn things in life. Like I said, don't have a know-it attitude, have a learning attitude. But that person, you might want to speak to them. Why are they behaving that way? What's the issue? What's the problem? Your job is just to give them a feedback. Say, bye, I'm trying to help you here. Nobody knows everything. If you have a know-it-all attitude, people start disliking you. There might be some people in this room who have got that attitude, but people don't really like them. You're always learning. Every day is a schooling day for you. So you just sit them down, talk to them, say, no, look, you are different to me, I am different. What you say may be right, but what I say may be right as well. But let's share ideas, let's share thoughts, and let's have a good understanding. And the people you're talking about don't have many friends. Over the long term, they lose a lot of friends because the way they are. So just give them good feedback and the reason why they need to change. And one thing I need to mention is, especially for the boys here, you know, I come from a very privileged background. Alhamdulillah. And I never struggled in a lot of things I did and stuff like that, so okay. But for you boys, some of these girls in this classroom are real good leaders, and they can be fantastic, great leaders. But they may have some issues, because I don't know how it is, and I still think it is in some areas. It's very difficult for girls to come out of their houses and to educate them and make a life out of them. For you boys, don't make life difficult for them. It's not about winning. Leadership is not about winning. Leadership is about helping and supporting others. You've got some people who may have some issues, may have some problems. It's about helping them get better. See, when you do teamwork, your team is only good as the weakest member of the team. You might be here, but the other person might be here. The team ain't going to win. So you need to help, support. Empathy, somebody mentioned empathy, it's different to sympathy. So just understand that sympathy and empathy are two different things. If I give you a scenario, if you, Farhan, failed your exam, sympathy will say, tough, Farhan, you know what, you didn't put enough effort in, you know, I feel sorry for you, do it again. Empathy is sitting you down, Farhan. Look, I'm really sorry you failed your exam, but why did you fail your exam? Let's work together. Do you know what? Next time, me and you are going to work together and I'm going to get you through that exam. That's the difference. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. For you, life may be easy. For some of the sisters on this side, life may be really, really difficult. Challenges at home, coming to school. The extra pressure for them just being in the classroom at the same room as you is intense. And you need to help, support and encourage them, some of them. Because society, we need male leaders and we need female leaders. If as a society we lack female leaders, I think as a country we have really
I think Pakistan is one of the fourth actually cleverest nation. They're very clever. People in Pakistan are the fourth cleverest nation in the world. So you should be proud of that. We have our weaknesses, you know, but we've got to give a chance to everyone to progress and lead the country and work for the country, not for themselves, not for me. I don't want to be, you know, we've traveled 10 hours in an aeroplane, sitting down, giving lots of money to come to Pakistan to give you some kind of an input that you can take away from me. I want just one more question because I got to go shopping.
So one here, one male, one female.
My daughter's phoned me to bring me some clothes from Lahore, so some of the girls can tell me where the nice clothes are in a minute. But one more question from the back of those girls, please, if you can, just and we'll go. Come on, Yar. Just
any other question? Is there anybody? Just ask any question. It could be anything.
आप लोग इतने चुप हैं ना, पता नहीं क्यों ना कि आप you understand everything, yeah? Huh?
Okay. Okay. Any from this side? Any more? Okay. Just some conclusion words, Yousaf, and I just want to end with something conclusion.
Well, you know, I think it's been a fantastic 2 hours or less than 2 hours. I think, you know, the lecture at the Policing College was excellent today. You guys have been absolutely brilliant. I understand you know, that it's a bit tense in here because you don't know us and, you know, you're in an environment where you think, oh, I don't want to do something wrong. But I think for me, really, I think, as I said, right, remember, respect yourself, respect those around you, treat people with humanity, dignity and respect, and you won't go wrong. You are all leaders in one way or the other. So when you go home and you make some roti or whatever, you know, you're a leader because you're making roti for somebody, aren't you? And you go and tell your little brother or your husband or your wife and says, oh, you know, you're a leader, you're leading people. Every day you are leading people, but you don't realize that you are leading people. Yeah? So for me, I just want to say, I wish you all the best for the future. I don't know if we'll ever meet again or not, but if I do meet you in a hospital, please direct me in a nice way, yeah? Don't tell me to go over there and make me dance, yeah? And I just need to know from one of the girls a little bit later on as to where the shopping centre is, where I can go and do some clothing.
You have to spend some money.
And that's all I'll say, Mohammed. Thank you very much.
And I'd just like to say is, just the last few words. There's a quote I always say is that if you want to predict your future, create it. Do people get what I'm saying? If you want to predict your future, you create the future. I listened to a speech a couple of years ago, and it really changed the way I think and I do things. There's a woman in Pakistan called, I forgot her surname, Muniba, who got married at the age of 17, had an accident, broke all her legs, bones in her body. For 2 years, her husband divorced her, everybody left her, remained in hospital. If you want to predict the future, create it. She could have stayed on that bed for the rest of her life. She thought about committing suicide, she thought about a lot of things, but then she said, you know what? This is the way I am. This is the way I'm going to do things. Do you know what? I'm going to be different. I'm going to make something in life. If you haven't, go on TED Talks and listen to Muniba now. On a wheelchair, she's a motivational speaker. If she can do it, after being on a deathbed for 2 years, on a wheelchair, anybody could do it. But you have to have the right principles, the right values. I could wear a Giorgio Armani watch here, or I could wear a Casio watch. The time is the same. I could travel to Peshawar either by plane, by a Land Cruiser, or a Meran car. I could travel,
Suzuki, yeah.
but the distance is
the same,
still
yeah.
the same. Whatever you do in your life, make sure you stick to your values and principles. Those are your moral compasses. Don't, because there could be a lot of money. You could go out on the street and earn a lot of money by selling alcohol and drugs. You can make millions. But would that fit in with your zamir? Would that fit in with the values? No. But the same way, you could be a teacher, you could be a doctor, you could be a pilot, make the same money, but in an izzat way. All I will say to you people, make sure that you have strong values, you have strong principles, and wherever you go, there are your moral compass and guidances, and don't ever sway away from them. And finally, thank you very much. We did say we're very good timekeepers. 2 hours.